when I step up to say this company doesn't work well on these elements, when I step up to say that leadership here is no good, I too am contributing to politics. The other aspect of it is the extreme end of toxicity. In that case, step up, understand what is happening, don't rush to judgment. And there is something that needs to be reported, please do it. Please do it very factually. Please do it based on your research. Please do it with the completion so that it gets taken cognizance of.
Hi, this is Divas Gupta and welcome to another episode of Workwise with Naukri. Today, we'll be discussing how to deal with office politics. In this episode, we have Gitanjali Pandit. She's an award-winning and best-selling author, a columnist and a TEDx and a global keynote speaker. And we had an insightful conversation around what defines office politics, what is not office politics, and how you can navigate through it. So let's get started. Gitanjali Pandit, welcome to Workwise with Naukri.
Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Some of us are blessed to have some people in our organization who make our lives difficult. First of all, how to understand that, yes, we are a victim of office politics. What's the experience like?
Okay, interesting question. Let's take a step back and understand what is happening in offices, what is happening at work, and what is happening at workplaces. We associate politics with all negativity that is happening around us. And two things stand out about what is called politics: backstabbing and flattery, right? This is the usual definition of politics. If you look at it in a more nuanced fashion, it could be stealing credit, it could be misinformation, it could be manipulation, and at the extreme end, it could be harassment of some kind, right? Those are elements. Most people are not facing the extreme element, and therefore, let's call this negative behavior in an office rather than office politics.
Okay.
Yes, we could have a special someone at work who seems to dislike us for whatever reason. And if that special someone is a boss, is the boss's boss, sometimes it could even be someone reporting into me, someone on my team who is abrasive, who is aggressive. I must equip myself with the right understanding, with the right perspective, and then the right steps of how to deal with it.
Then how do you draw this line that he is a victim, he's not a victim? How can you say that this is extreme, this is not extreme? Someone who has worked really hard and someone else takes the credit for your work. Isn't that?
Yes, I'm saying that is extreme. I'm saying that is extreme.
So what is subtle as per you?
What is subtle?
Yeah.
What is subtle is a conversation which, puts me down. That's a little more subtle, isn't it? If I walk up to my boss and I say, Divas, clocks in late in the morning, right? That could be a statement of fact, Maybe Divas is clocking in late in the morning, right? Rather than labeling it as politics, I might have to look inward and say, what is prompting me to say this? And if it was you could look at the statement and saying, is there something that I need to be doing differently? Why is this being reported against me? Or why has this come about? What is it that I need to do differently to address this? So it's not politics. It's just a perspective, and it is someone who thought that they should go and mention it in a conversation or mention it even more formally.
Why do people do this?
Why do people do this? Well, that's a whole sea of psychology at work there. Let's say that you come in habitually late to work. And let's say that someone goes and reports you about it, right? They could be doing this because they genuinely feel stressed about your coming late to work. Maybe it increases their workload.
The team has the work.
Yes, right. Maybe it's increased their workload. Yes. Maybe they've been put to a lot of discomfort. Or the last time they came in late,
They were being told that.
And they were pulled up, right? Yeah. And yet Divas hasn't been pulled up, all the times that he's been coming in late to work. So the natural reaction is to say, don't tell me, tell him. He's the one who's been coming in later to work than I have, and he comes in more regularly late to work than I do. And yet I got, pulled out on this one, got called out on this one. So it could be just that, or it could be done with great malice, right? I know performance appraisal is around the corner. I know that eventually my appraisal, my increment, and perhaps the next promotional opportunity is going to be a direct competition between you and me. Mm-hmm. And then I decide that Workwise, I have nothing to take you down on, and I might just go and do this, right? So those are the prompts that people have to go and do this. But when I step up to pull someone down, when I step up to say that there's nothing positive about our work environment, when I step up to say this company doesn't work well on these elements, when I step up to say that leadership here is no good, I too am contributing to politics. And at that time, I'm not terming it politics. I'm terming it my response, my reaction, my frustration, office gossip, whatever it be, right? At that time, I'm adding to the negativity, but I'm not seeing it as adding to politics. And neither you are going to take any action on it, and neither am I. But it's going to remain in the conversation. It's not about improving the organization where we work. It's not about changing anything positively about our work environment. It's not motivated, and it's not going to the right ears in the right way. How we put it forward is also not happening in the right way to the right people. So it's just negativity.
People prefer to just have a conversation or vent out their feelings with their colleagues because they think that they can't approach their seniors and they won't listen, they won't understand. So they just okay, let me share it with you that, what is happening, that person is like this and this and this and this. And eventually that becomes a gossip and they just get spiraled down. So what can be done in that scenario?
I think if I was, when I look back and I had the wisdom that I have today, and if I was starting out my career, or I was in the first 5 years of my career, 3 years of my career, I would learn to hold this back. This venting, I would learn to hold back because it is not constructive. I have to learn to be more mindful of my response to situations and to people in order to create positive outcomes. Now, whether you want to call this a takeaway from psychology or you want to call it a takeaway from life, you want to call it a takeaway from spirituality, this is how life works. The other aspect of it is the extreme end of toxicity, whether it is harassment, whether it is intimidation, whether it is misinformation and stealing of that credit that we spoke about. In that case, step up. Understand what is happening. Don't rush to judgment. Step up to take the responsibility of fixing the problem, going to the right person with that in a way which is not about putting down the person or the team who has worked against you, but it is about reporting it in the right way to the right person at the right time, in the right manner. What do I mean in the right manner? Not being reactive, judgmental, or emotional, in which case the message is going to get lost. Then it looks like it's a very personal antipathy to someone. It's personal animosity. And the moment that message goes across that this is personally motivated, or it is motivated by something else which is factual other than factual, then the response is going to be different.
Do you even feel that as an individual, the role of communication plays a pivotal role where the gaps or the misunderstandings, they pop up and that leads to office politics?
Yes, it does.
What can be done? Actionable steps.
I think the first actionable step is to look within and understand, how am I talking to people? Step one. How am I talking about people when they are not there? And, I have 5 things which I hold against her now, right? That's the instant response. But if I am able to take a step back and understand that the person who's come to report this to me could either be telling something which is factually not right, could have misinterpreted or misheard something that they are now saying. Maybe their intent is right, maybe they're not lying. The second choice is we alter our interpretation of that situation.
The lens through which we see things.
Yes, the lens through which we see things. So we've got these two. To say that I'm completely disempowered where I am and therefore I have to suffer the toxicity of this place is incorrect. We don't have to suffer the toxicity, we have to find solutions.
Talk to boss.
Also one possibility. But bosses too have limitations. Bosses also have limitations. They cannot alter the entire, even CEOs, and I worked with enough CEOs, I work with CXOs even today. There are real limitations and of course there are perceived limitations of what they can do, what they can accomplish for their team members. It's not as if they are absolute owners and therefore there is absolute playground to do what they wish to do. Because there's so many checks and balances within a system and appropriate ones and some of the subtle influence which exists within an organization. And of course, they have their own difficulties. To say that my problems can be fixed by my boss 100% may not always be true. It is less likely to be true.
What else can be done apart from speaking with your boss? What else can be done?
Let's say that speaking with the boss is one option. I think if there is someone wise enough in human resources, that's another option to go and, chat with them in a way which doesn't blow back on you, because
if you approach them, you'll be the one that, okay, he's the one who has problem with people.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying you have to be very mindful of what you're doing and when you're doing it, right? Sometimes, and this could be a situation with someone who's suffering because of their boss, right? Because that was a situation that you and I were just talking about. Sit back and think, is a solution possible from the boss's boss? Or is the problem being created by the boss's boss? Is actually your boss trying to protect you or shield you against some other negative influence, right?
What steps can be taken to build strong professional relationships without getting entangled in office politics?
Yeah,
the moment you try to
question.
connect with the who's and who's of the industry, the godfather and the one who can just take you ahead along with them, you never know when you are sucked up, if that's a word.
I think for professional networking, we have to be very good observers of people. So for people who are starting their career, they have to understand that networking is beyond few compliments delivered at the start of the day or at the end.
Learned. When you build a relationship, you have to spend time with people,
right.
And that starts with gossip. So how do you avoid getting, being away from the gossips?
Well, I think
networking starts from there, right? Just a casual chat, and then if you say that, what, I don't get into this, they're not accept it's a part of your circle. You won't get the insight that, okay, who is the person with whom you have to be in touch with? So where is it that we draw the line?
There are many things to gossip about without bringing it so close to home that it converts into office politics. There is the world of cinema to gossip about. Have your fill. Nobody is going to haul you up and say, oh, this is, office politics. There is a whole world of golf. There is a whole world of other interests outside of office. There is a whole world of food, of art, of hospitality, of sports, right? It's all out there. Why is it that the gossip has to come down and west with the person who is working with us, slogging with us from morning till night? Let's disassociate that gossip from that person for now and put it on someone who is not known to us, but is possibly more in the public eye. It could be a piece of art, it could be a cinema, it could be something else. It is about conversation. There is a human need to reach out and converse. Let's expand the circle of conversation.
Absolutely. This is a very valid point.
Yeah.
Now, help me understand that as an individual who has just joined the organization, he has a friend circle who says that, like, come over for a party. And then the conversation is about the office, is about the boss. He wants to talk about the cinema and the golf. But then if he has to be part of that group, what he should do? Should he contribute or should he stay mum?
I think if you are in a situation like that, you find yourself in a situation like that, it's very advisable to say something positive or keep quiet.
About the organization, about the person.
Yes, or keep quiet. Because when the party ends, your line is going to be sticking in someone's mind, in their head, and in their approach to you at work. It alters perceptions. And no matter how valid or how reasonable you think you are being, chances are that, and if it gets reported back, then what? Your line is the only one that's going to get reported. The rest of it is not going to get reported.
The context will not be considered at all.
The context is not considered. And it's very hurtful to bring people down, whether they're there, not there. Let's say that the conversation was about what is going wrong. Could I have said at that time, if only we do this, things will be better? Then that's a positive spin on it, right? That's a positive suggestion. I think we should do this. It'll really give us great results. Right?
Than just finding the problem.
Yeah, than just talking about the problem. Because the thing about negativity is that it spreads much faster than positivity.
So one way could be that you are ignorant that if people talking about things, I'm out of it, you guys can go on, right? However, if you
change the conversation is another option.
Yes, that's what you can do. I mean, plug in the positive part of it so that the direction changes and there is more of.
Or simply say that we are at work 18 hours a day. I'm not 18 hours a day. Let's say 12 hours a day. 12 hours a day. Let's not talk about work at this party. Let's talk of other things. That could be a very positive change of direction.
But if you have to report that something is going wrong.
Yes.
What is the way?
Yes.
And if you report, you have repercussions as well, which you might be aware of. So what is the process to report and then being prepared with the repercussion that might follow?
I think the first thing is to be very clear of what you're reporting, against whom you're reporting, and to whom you're reporting this entire series.
Let's take some scenarios. A scenario where you're reporting against your colleague.
Right. I think we don't have to be very fearful of repercussions every time, which is not to say that you have to rush in heedlessly, but when you are cautious enough about a 360-degree perspective of fallout on other people, not just on oneself alone. And there's something that needs to be reported, please do it. Please do it very factually. Please do it based on your research. Please do it with the completion so that it gets taken cognizance of when I hear a no.
That they don't listen to me.
They don't listen.
Next time I won't reach out to them.
Yes.
I should shout at them with my facts and figures and data facts.
Yes.
Okay, this is what I saw, observed.
Yes. And then take that no a little objectively. Because it may not be about you. I may have done my homework. I may have done my 360 view. But if I'm, at a higher platform, my 360 view is also very different from what it is below there, right? So, and there could be other factors. There could be financial factors. The company is not able to implement it. The boss has a bias. That's fine. The boss is a human being at the end of the day. They have a bias. Bide your time. If that idea is so good, you can, employ it in your next place of employment. You could use it there. Or, it may come to fruition in a year or two. But have patience. The problem is my behavior, my response, my reaction furthers office politics when I'm very short-sighted, I'm very impatient. It doesn't further office politics when I take the longer term view. Then things are easier. But if I'm impatient and I want things done now and I'm short-sighted on that, then there is a problem.
Wow. I got a 360-degree perspective on how to navigate through office politics. Thank you so much for building insight. I mean, it was profound insight, and I realized the mistake that I have done in my journey because of my perspective from here, not from here. And learning from you in this conversation was truly insightful. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me on Workwise. And I hope to see you again. And I hope that everyone who's joining us on Workwise today is going to go back with very concrete steps to deal with toxicity, negativity, and what is called office politics at work.
Be mindful. Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
Thank you for watching this episode of Workwise with Naukri. If you liked it, subscribe to it, and I'll see you in the next episode.